Everybody, welcome to another episode of New Gameplay Today. I'm your host, Alex Van Aken, joined today by Alex Stadnick. Hello, Alex.
Excelsior.
And Marcus Stewart. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen?
Way to answer him like normally, make me feel weird.
Fantastic is how we're doing. Marcus, what are we looking at? I see Spider-Man here.
Yeah, he is one of several superheroes in this hot new video game called Marvel's Midnight Suns, being made by Firaxis, who people know as the makers of that Civilization and that Xcom.
Ooh.
And yeah, they're making an old Marvel RPG. And I see
they have the demon from Doom Eternal in the game as well.
Yeah.
That's a cool collaboration they've got going on there.
Yeah, we see he threw Hydra Bob there off the building.
My favorite superhero.
Yeah, Spider-Man saved him because he's a good guy, Spidey. Yeah, so when I mentioned that this is an RPG, I use that term with emphasis because I think a lot of people still think that this is going like XCOM but Marvel. Yeah. And it very much isn't that. And I should know because I went to Firaxis and played about like 4 hours of this game, and you're watching some of my actual gameplay footage right now. So if you see something that looks dumb, you know who to blame.
All right, you actually got to go to the office, huh?
Yeah, I met Sid Meier and everything. It was a fun trip, and I'm happy to report that so far this is a pretty fun video game.
Awesome, but more importantly, what did you think about the state of Maryland?
It was actually very hot and humid in a way that I was prepared for. Well, I looked up the weather before I went, but it was still like I thought I would be leaving Florida, but I just went to North Florida.
Marcus, we don't care about. We're here to talk about Marvel's Midnight Suns, not Maryland. I don't know why you keep talking about it, Marcus.
You don't know about
Let's talk about this here video game.
Not Baltimore Suns. Okay. Yeah, so this game, as you can see, the basic hook is that it's a turn-based RPG that has card-based combat.
Okay.
And Firaxis acknowledged that when you mention cards, there's already like some people, their skin automatically crawls of like, ew, deck builders. Does that mean microtransactions and stuff? And it does not mean that. What it does mean is that, and what Firaxis was going for is that they wanted to find a way to make the turn-based combat unpredictable. Because normally you always have the same commands when you play a normal JRPG or RPG in general. But with the card element, as you've seen with games of Slay the Spire, the idea that every hand can be different and thus all of your options are different and you don't know what you're going to draw, that kind of forces you to have to get strategic and thoughtful and like work with what you have.
Okay.
And that's really what it comes down to, because the cards themselves are very basic. There's only 3 types. There's attack cards, which are exactly what they sound like. They just do an attack that deals damage. There's skill cards, which are they can be various effects, like Spider-Man there. He has a card that can bind people and keep them immobilized for a period of time. Mm-hmm. And then you have your heroic cards, which you have to build up a meter to attack. And you see some of the physics there as that guy went flying thanks to the hunter. But yeah, the heroic attacks do like a cool special attack or even just like just more powerful attacks that you have to spend points on the meter. So you see here on the right side, that number 3 and that sort of like honeycomb looking icon. You build those up just by executing moves, and then you spend however many you need to play those types of cards.
Okay, I see, yeah.
Yeah. So what's unlike XCOM, you can see there's no grid or anything. You can move the characters pretty much anywhere you want them to go. You just kind of pick whatever direction you want to place them in.
Yeah,
they told us that cover isn't really a thing in this game the way it is in XCOM.
Okay, so it's not going to like... Well, is there a way to deter damage by hiding behind things? Because that's what the old cover system was like. It's like, okay, there's a 50% shot that maybe you won't get hit. Is there anything like that here or not really?
No, because this game doesn't even deal in percentages. So everything you do is going to hit. And they told us that the reason for that is that would be kind of lame for superheroes to like imagine Captain America throwing a shield and just whiffing it.
Yeah.
He's like in front of somebody's face. So yeah, like a regular RPG, everything you're going to do is going to hit. So it's not about juggling percentage chances or like mitigating losses, because there's no permadeath.
Okay,
obviously superheroes. Like if somebody goes down, you can revive them if you want to. And it's just more about just using what you have strategically to take down opposing forces as optimally as possible. So
I like the little knockback move. That was really cool.
Yeah, some attacks have knockback attack or effects. Other attacks will grant you an extra move because the way turns work is that you have 3 overall moves that you can make in terms of like you can play 3 cards basically. But some attacks, if you land them, they'll grant you an extra hit, so they'll refill one of those notches.
Sure.
The only other thing, and you can see some of this on that right side again, you can redraw a card twice. So if you have a card that you can't use right now or you don't want to use, you can put it back in the deck and just draw another one. But in terms of movement, you can only move a character once. And I mean like overall, like one character once, not one each.
Okay.
So, again, that's because positioning, it just doesn't matter as much in this game. Like saying there isn't some benefits to it, because obviously there's times where you need to get out of the way of like an AoE attack that you see coming. Or if you want to line up, because there's certain attacks that if you hit someone, they'll give you a chance to kind of aim where they're going to go. So like the Hunter, I don't know if you saw earlier, she has like a whip attack that when you grab someone with a whip, they give you a cone or like where do you want to fling them? And you can throw them into like the environment or into another enemy to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And that's one of the things I really do like about this game is kind of how freeform it is in that, because you're not confined to like a grid or anything, you kind of move around and get really creative, and it kind of forces you to study the environment in a more sort of open sense, and especially because environmental damage is a big thing in this game. So you can't really hide behind stuff, but you can use it as weapons. And I was a really big fan of that. Like you might see some of it here already. Like I spent a lot of time trying to figure out like, I could hit Venom normally, or what if I just knocked him into that sign to get some extra damage and also get the most out of playing a single card, right? And so, like, you see me there with Magic, who's actually one of my favorite characters in this game. I'm trying to...
Okay, so this one will suck him in towards the center of the circle, right?
Yeah, or anyone that's in that radius. So it's good for, like, bringing in a bunch of people together and then maybe setting him up for, like, another character to do something. But yeah,
and who's the character with the sword? I'm not familiar with her.
Magic. So she's from the X-Men, specifically the New Mutants.
Okay.
If you watched a New Mutants movie, that was I think Maisie Williams played her.
Okay.
But
that's still coming out, right?
Yeah, yeah. Some say it hasn't released yet. At least the studio would like to think that because it didn't do well. But yeah, she's Colossus's younger sister, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But she's a cool character, and she's actually one of my favorite characters in this game because of her mutant as well as magic ability to create portals, which is really good for like battlefield manipulation because you can set up a portal anywhere and have it, targeting something so that if you knock anyone into that portal, they'll exit into whatever it's facing. So like, I'm gonna set a portal next to this generator so that if I knock someone into it, they'll just go flying into that generator from like across the battlefield. So it's a good way to like set up ways to let enemies hit things that maybe would be too far away otherwise, if that makes sense.
For sure. Sorry. I didn't
mean no, go ahead.
I feel like we've buried the lead gentleman. Spider-Man's in this game.
Yes, he is. Spider-Man's in this game, as was...
I know, shocking.
Totally wasn't leaked or anything like that.
Wait, that's Venom?
That's Venom.
That's not the Doom Demon?
I mean, Venom could qualify for a Doom Demon.
I do have to say this version of Venom looks very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he scarier than the Tom Hardy one?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. I still haven't seen those movies.
Me neither.
Really?
I can say
as a huge Spider-Man fan, I still have never seen those movies. But yeah, Spider-Man is in this game as well as Scarlet Witch. They announced they showed us those 2 characters as part of the overall team, which also includes, we've seen Magic, Wolverine, Captain America, Blade, Nico Minoru. It's a cool roster because it's like half the heavy hitters that everyone knows, as well as like half of the lesser known kind of occult themed heroes, like a Ghost Rider. There she goes, Magic, my girl, putting in work.
Well, and then it also features the Hunter, who is a new character for the Marvel Universe. I know when we did the cover story, the team over at Firaxis was really excited and proud that they got to make their own Marvel character, which is really cool.
Yeah, so that's the character that you probably are like, I don't know this person, and the white. So the hunter is a customizable hero, so you can make the hunter male or female, non-binary, whatever appearance, skin color you want there. So everyone's hunter is going to look different than yours. And her story is that, because the villain of this game, the story itself is a reimagining of the 90s Midnight Suns comic, which if you're a fan of Ghost Rider, you'll probably be pretty familiar with it, where the Midnight Suns and the Avengers come together to battle Lilith, who is the mother of all humans.
Yep.
And the hunter is the child of Lilith, who defeated Lilith ages ago and then entered an eternal slumber. But then Hydra resurrected Lilith, and in turn, the Midnight Suns are like, well, we got to get the hunter because they knew how to beat Lilith the first time. But the problem is that, and this is how you know it's an RPG, the hunter wakes up with amnesia. So they don't remember how they beat Lilith exactly.
Are they silent as well?
No, fully voiced.
Oh, okay.
Yep, which is nice. Fully voiced character. The only things you do with her, or I'm saying her because my character's female, but you can, there's like dialogue options and that kind of thing. And there's also a light and darkness system, because the hunter's main power is that she can control the elements of light and dark. Not saying that you can make them evil necessarily, but they can tap into like dark magic. And the way you kind of determine that, because there's two different skill trees of abilities for both alignment, is that when you're back in your headquarters, the Abbey, you can have conversations with your allies, and it's all choice-driven stuff, and you can build relationships in kind of a Fire Emblem or Mass Effect kind of way. And so if you say something that a character might really like, you'll get like a point in like your light side, but then if you're like a jerk, they'll, you're gonna point like a minus point, like, oh, I don't like this person, but then you get a point in darkness side. So that's kind of how they maybe incentivize you to be a little bit more of a knobhead, we'll say.
The official term.
Yeah, of course, I'm too nice. I was like, I don't want. I felt bad because I made Blade mad at me.
Blade.
It's probably the last person you want.
Yeah, for real.
Having.
He's in the top tier.
Yeah, and it's funny because in the relationship stuff, so they call it the friendship system, which is kind of a funny name for it. But the idea is that, like I said, you can build relationships with these characters, you learn more about them, and in turn, the better your relationship, they might get combat bonuses, so they're a little bit buffed up doing fights. But then you also just get to see the human side of these characters, which if you're a fan of Marvel and these heroes, that's kind of, at least for me, I found it appealing of like, oh, it's cool that I can spend the night playing video games with Ghost Rider, the Robbie Reyes version, the current one, and he's going to tell me about his younger brother and like their relationship, And like, okay, I wouldn't have known this about him otherwise.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, that Firaxis kept stressing that, you can be cordial with everyone, but you only have enough time in the game to maybe max out 3 or 4 relationships. So you do have to be a little bit selective of like, okay, who's going to be like my inner circle of people? Like, am I going to go more for like, I like this personality? Or is it like, I like this combination of, teammates, so I'm going to get them maxed out as best as I can because I just like using them.
Yeah.
For sure. Did you get to spend any time? Well, I guess how much time did you get to spend in the Abbey in this preview?
A lot, actually. Yeah. So we basically played the first 4 hours of the game.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And so the Abbey is a big open hub, basically, where it's, it's got your castle and the surrounding grounds. And you spend a lot more time than even I realized because there's so much to do there. You're wandering around. You're talking to your teammates. Like I said, you're progressing relationships, but you're also like unlocking cards. You're training with your teammates in this sort of sparring area. There's like special missions where you can send a character off on like a kind of like Metal Gear Solid, like Peace Walker of like, hey, we're going to send you off on a mission and you're going to bring back some extra bonuses. But while you're gone, we can't use you because, you're away. And because the Abbey operates on like a full day-night cycle, so everything is kind of governed by that, And so like, oh, but Captain Marvel won't be back till tomorrow morning because I just sent her away on this thing for me. And you're like, okay, I guess. But other than that, you can walk around looking for collectibles. Like there's a ton of Easter eggs and collectibles. Like there's these tarot cards that are based on other Marvel heroes. There are these elemental rods that serve as keys for certain puzzles. There's like blocked off areas that you need a separate set of environmental based powers to open. So I only got one during my session, but it was basically this sort of like force push that can like open these doors that have like a matching glyph. So you see, it's like almost like a Metroid-y or like a Zelda way. You go around and you see things of like, okay, clearly I can't get there yet, but I know I'm going to get something later on that will open up this part of the Abbey. You know what I mean? And also like environmental puzzles. Like there was these statues that I found where I was like, oh, pray in front of the statue. And it's like, okay, and then you do, and then the eye started to glow, and then they show you a pedestal that has 4 statues, but like clearly something's supposed to appear there. It's like, okay, I need to find those other statues so I can pray in front of them to get whatever's going to pop up there. And there's also a ton of chests that need keys that you have to find. Like there's a lot to do. And what's also nice is that the map will automatically mark things that you found. So it's like, okay, I can't open this now, but here it is later when you want to come back to it.
Right. Okay. Did you get a sense from the team either way? Because, you know, Spider-Man, newly announced character, Venom, newly announced character. Did you get a sense that we've seen the entire roster now? Or do you think, or did they say like more heroes and villains are coming?
It sounded like, because and you're seeing some slowdown there. That was a little bit of a bug that I ran into, but, you know, something that they said was going to be patched in there. So if you're wondering what that is, it's just like a weird minor bug with so many attacks. But I know it's 12 heroes total on the team, and I'm trying to do the math. I think Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man were the last 2.
Okay.
Between like Cap, Iron Man, Strange, you know,
Wolvie.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Ben Reeves is not going to be playable in this game.
Maybe he'll be like some sort of DLC though.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know why he would go work there otherwise.
Right?
You know, maybe there'll be another Spider-Man skin, another universe Spider-Man.
Oh my god, if there was a Spider-Ben skin.
Yeah, he could be Uncle Ben, maybe.
Oh, I hope there's like an NPC just named Bobby Reeves somewhere in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically our Uncle Ben.
Did Venom just collide with the hunter?
So like, you want to say that was a 6 strat. So you saw that the hunter was kind of tied down by Venom's symbiote goo.
Yeah.
So when that happens to a character, the only way to free them is to hit them.
Oh.
But I didn't want to waste a move doing that. So I was thinking there, like, what if I made a portal and knocked Venom into the hunter? Because that would still count as like physical damage. So I can still deal damage while also freeing her, and it worked.
Dang.
And that's something I've really liked about this game, is that it encouraged creative thinking and combining your powers in Venom ways.
Cool. Yeah, I know I'm excited for this. We got to take a look at it last year for our cover story, and it really looks like it's coming along really nicely too, which is awesome, because I had fun with it when I got to play it, but definitely, you know, acknowledge that they still had stuff to do, and it's cool to see Spidey in action and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I like strategy games. I love Marvel. I love Spider-Man, so it was a pleasant surprise to see him in this. And I had a really fun time playing this game, and I want to see where the story goes and develop all the relationships and the Abby stuff. And I think this is absolutely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm a big Firaxis fan. I play most of their game releases, and I'm excited to see their take on, the Marvel franchise. So I think it'll be cool. Marcus, when is this coming out? Platforms, all that. Do we have any of that? Do we know?
So it's coming out on basically everything. So PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It still does not have a release date, but it is coming out sometime during the fall.
Okay, so fall 2022.
Yes.
Hopefully. All right, cool. Well, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, subscribe, stick around. Head over to GameInformer.com for the latest news, previews, reviews, and features on your favorite upcoming and past games. Thanks again, Alex and Marcus, for joining me, and thank you all for watching. Bye.
Thanks,